Well, welcome back to another episode of the Cruise Conversations podcast. I'm Michael.
And I'm Frank.
And today's episode is episode 113, and we're sitting down with Jeremy, the Cruising Bear, to talk about his recent Carnival Firenze sailing. Let's jump into it.
Michael, I didn't tell you this yet.
Okay.
Our vlog, so make sure that you're following. I've got a vlog. The boys took on Allure of the Seas.
We did.
In January. Man, did we take it on, because I was watching some of those videos back, and it's pretty much ready. I might just go ahead and just drop that thing today. So make sure you're subscribed. I'll let you watch it first, of course. Make sure you give me the approval. But no, that one's ready. So if you are looking at Oasis class, or you just want to be entertained for 16 minutes and 40 seconds while the boys go crazy on a cruise ship without their wives and girlfriends and all that, make sure you check us out. So now we got a special guest. As always, we'll bring in Jeremy, the Cruising Bear. We're going to talk about his Carnival cruise. There he is.
Hello, everybody. How y'all doing today?
We're good.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
We're not embarking on a Saturday. It's, I wish we were getting on a cruise today, but I guess, you got to wait a week and a half. I got to wait 101 days. So,
but the nice thing is, Jeremy, we're gonna get to do this live together on the Celebrity Excel. So I'm excited about that.
Yes.
I'm pumped.
That's going to be exciting. It's going to be an awesome ship. I'm so excited to try that class of ship, the Edge class. All you hear is how beautiful it is and how wonderful it is, and we get to test it out, man. Not the first one like we thought it was going to be, but I guess at the 8th one or something now. I don't know.
No, I'm super pumped about that. So, Jeremy, you just got off a cruise. This was another cruise that you done that recently, right? So this was the Carnival Firenze, sailing out of LA. Talk us through why you kind of picked this itinerary. Why did you decide to go back on this ship again?
All right, so in February when I got back, I loved the ship. I loved the Italian decor on it. It was unique. It was different from the other ships on the Carnival. We had a great time. We liked the itinerary. I prefer to do longer ones, but there was a couple little things. I mean, I got a free room for the casino with onboard credit and free drinks in the casino. My sister did as well. So we when you get people with good deals, like she booked a room with my mom, I booked a room with my dad, and then we go and switch it up when you get on the ship. And also, I needed a couple more days because I have a cruise on the Jubilee in January, and that will put me at platinum. I wanted to make sure I hit platinum before the new loyalty starts. I had no other carnivals before then, so it was kind of the thing. I needed 4 days somewhere. It was a free cruise. I had the week off already, and it all came together for us.
Awesome. Well, we'll dive more into the details of your cruise. But hey, before we do that, we have some cruise news we want to get your take on real quick. So Norwegian just kind of announced, and this isn't like super recent, but we haven't had a chance to talk to you about it. So they announced that they're basically doing a massive renovation to Great Stirrup Cay. Now, I don't think you've actually been to Great Stirrup Cay, but talk us through just your thoughts on what they're doing to this island, especially in kind of the midst of all this carnival celebration talk. And obviously you've got the, Royal investing heavily into Cozumel with their beach club and Nassau and also in Mexico. So just talk us through what are you thinking about this new Great Stirrup Cay expansion with the water park and all of that?
See, I had never been there, but I did go and looked at some videos, a couple of walkthroughs from last year, and it reminded me a little bit of a Princess Cay, a little more modern. It has a great zip line. It's got bars and stuff. It's really nice, but you can tell it's probably the oldest one. If you compare it to Ocean Cay, honestly, just from the videos I've seen from both. I mean, I've been to Ocean Cay, but even from the videos, it just looks a little nicer. It needs to be spruced up a little bit. And like you said, the pressure from Coco Cay and Perfect Day Mexico and all the beach clubs and all these new private island Celebration Key comes out. You can't get left behind right now. It's an arms race right now, and if you don't make your updates, you're going to get left behind.
No, I think that's a great point. People are moving super fast. We put on the screen here, this is like a little image. Obviously, one of the biggest changes is that they're going to have a pier that you can dock up right to. And I think that's when we were at Coco Cay last time, I think in January, we actually could see the construction happening over there. And it's always funny when you pull up and you can look over and people are having to go by boat over to the island and do the tendering situation. So super nice that those that are loyal to Norwegian or just wanting to get over to this new private island will have a pier that they can dock up to, and that'll be super nice as well.
And I'll say the water park looks super cool. I mean, I think there's things that have 19
19.
different
Yeah.
slides. Has like a cliff jumping little area, a little lazy river that has a little indoor part. I mean, we're just throwing up some pictures in the background here, but I mean, the slide tower looks super cool.
Yeah, that looks insane. It's got like those little loop-de-loop things where I think we've done a couple slides like that together. Those are awesome.
Obviously, like we said, the cliff jumping. I mean, I think they're saying one of the first in the Caribbean, maybe. I know some water parks that have that here in the States. Like we said, lazy river. But then they're also adding a pool to the island. I don't know if it's heated or not.
Look at how awesome that looks with the ship in the background. Oh my gosh, dude. I think I'm sorry, Celebration Key, but I think the way that this looks just so nice. This is a private island I actually am like dying to get to when this renovation. What's the target date, Jeremy, on when this is supposed to be done?
Sometime next year, right? I think they're starting it, or they're getting ready to start all the preparations now. So I think it's supposed to be end of next year, maybe.
Okay,
I can't
cool.
remember exactly the day.
Yeah, I think it's a mix. I think some of it they're trying to get done by the end of this year, and then I know like the water park, and a lot of that is next year. We got Blake with the water park saying, "Let's hope the slides don't end up breaking." Yes,
Oh,
that is some big.
That's a
some
big
pretty
cruise.
news
I think
in
we
the
have
past
that
couple
on
days.
the cruise news. I don't know if we have a photo on here, but yeah, the icon of the sea slide ended up breaking. And I was telling Michael when I went on that slide. Now this has been over 12 months at this point, but when you fall, because it's one of those drop slides, I told him, like, I was like, dude, your back like smacks right against that glass super, super hard. It's not like at Carowinds where like the slide catches you, and it's that same spot where that thing cracked, where your back just like falls and hits the slide. It really is like a drop slide, like you fall, and I don't think you're supposed to. So hopefully on Star they fix it. I'll let you guys know in 11 days if it like actually is like a catch or if it's like a free fall feeling. But definitely some bad news for Royal in the midst of a big announcement and things, which is a good thing for them that they have all this big hype going around. But yeah, I'm sure this is not good publicity for those that are looking to sail Icon anytime soon.
Royal's PR department's been always great. I mean, they're always really good at taking care of issues and having something else. I mean, that's why they're number one right now, right?
I don't want to say they're number one because then we'll have people.
Yes, you
listening.
do. Absolutely, you say you just say it
People
all
will
the time.
be all in the DM saying, "Man, this guy."
All right, next piece of cruise news, Frank. What do we got?
All right, so Galveston has a big expansion that they've announced. And Jeremy, you sent us some of the content and materials around just what they're planning for this new cruise port. This is the 2040 master plan. Pretty cool, man. I mean, they're really trying to become the next biggest cruise port, maybe behind Miami, right?
Yeah, it sounds like they're trying to rival Miami because they want to get to 10 million passengers by 2045. Um, I mean, that's what they have coming, and what they want to do it's I don't want to call it innovative, but it's big for Galveston. I mean, for people that live here, Galveston's it's a cool spot. It's a lot of historical stuff. It's not a big spot for us, you know. Doing this, they're going to probably put new hotels up. There's going to be new shopping. They're kind of, you know, they want to add, I think, a total of 7 piers, total. So right now we have, the Royal goes out of there full time. Carnival goes out of there full time. Royal's got 2 ships. Carnival's going to have 3 ships. The new piers being built for November for NCL and MSC. Disney's going out there 2027 full time. I guess that's where the new berth is going to be. But they said they want to have that would be the fifth and the sixth they want to have by 2030 something, and they want to have another one after that. I mean, it's huge plans for Galveston. And they put numbers up of how many people that process through there versus the other places, and how many per berth, or per I guess through every building, and it's pretty high. It's like 1.1 million, whereas Miami's is much lower than that. So they just have to do a better job of getting it, and it looks like they have it all going.
I was texting you this week, Jeremy, and I think the only thing that creates the challenge is the airport, I think, for me. And you said that you can fly to Houston lobby, which is another option if you want it closer for families, right? That maybe you don't want to be in the car for an hour 15 each way. You could totally do lobby, which is 45 minutes, which I think that's pretty on par with Port Canaveral. It's about 45 minutes to get from MCO airport to the cruise port. So if you are like me and that's your consideration, and you're like, man, I would love to fly there, but look into Houston lobby as an option too. So
they have we were talking about it before also, that with Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Austin, all within 4 hours of Galveston or 5 hours from Galveston. That's with four of the top 15 cities. Fort Worth in there. That's five of the top 15 cities, all drivable. New Orleans is 8 hours away. Oklahoma City's like 8, 9 hours away. Arkansas is like 12 hours away. So I mean, or 10 hours away. So you get a lot of big cities easily drivable to Galveston, and you give them more options. But the other big problem is we always talk about it. If you look at it, there's one of there that shows like 93% of their cruises go just to the Western Caribbean, and it can get tiresome, and they can get bored doing the same thing over and over again. I don't know. There were some things on their slideshow that showed like trying to do something different and make that a little more exciting somehow. We know with the Royal Beach Club coming, and Perfect Day Mexico coming, I think that's going to end up bringing celebrity here eventually, and an icon
Yep.
class ship here eventually. I think we're going to end up with a Margarita at Sea, Margaritaville at Sea here eventually. I don't know, who else is coming, or if someone's going to bring, if Princess will come back or not. I don't see why they wouldn't, but if they have that many, piers to go out of. But if you can make the Western Caribbean a little more exciting, they do offer some 8-day ones that go right. They go out to, Perfect Day, and they go out to Celebration Key. So they've got some that are going out there, but you have to have 8 days to do those,
Yeah.
and then they follow that up with a 6-day after that. You can do this the same 3 6 days. You can do the Roatan, Costa Maya, Cosmo all in 6 days, but it's just, I mean, how many times have I done it? 15 times.
Yeah.
You're like, do you want to do it again? Do you want to try something new? That's the biggest thing they face out of there. And it sounds like they want to do something. I said Carnival should, I don't know if you can somehow make Progresso better, but that they need to do something in Progresso and kind of just cede Costa Maya to Royal Caribbean Corporation and just take over Progresso and do something there, because I mean, what
It's
are you
gonna
gonna do
be
when all your
tough,
ships go? Yeah, what are you gonna do when your ships go there and they see, that big ass water park over there, and you're like, oh, you can't go to that, by the way. You have to go over to
dude. I
that.
know, I know. It's not part of our scope of this discussion, but Perfect Day Mexico, man. Like, I think I need to start a countdown on the wall for like how many days until that opens in 2027, because that
Yeah.
is going to be legendary. All right. So we're going to get into our main topic for today. So going back to your Carnival Firenze cruise. So you ended up going on this one with your mom. I know that she, has some mobility, challenges. And so she was in a wheelchair. So this one was a little bit different than your past cruise. Talk to us just about boarding and how that first day when you got on board the Firenze.
So even getting to the port, Long Beach, the first time we went there, we were, they stopped traffic right after we got in there. I felt bad for my Airbnb driver because he's in there, and we were stopped for like 20 minutes. We didn't move. We were inside, past the gates to get into the port, and we just sat there. They stopped it for some reason. I don't know if they're just backed up trying to get people in and out, or if they're getting 18 wheelers in there dropping stuff off. And I thought maybe it was a one-time thing. Nope. I texted you guys while I was waiting, and we sat there. We were half a mile away, and 20 minutes later, we were a half a mile away. And drivers just backed up and backed up and backed up. And apparently, this happens often to the Long Beach port. I don't know if it's because they're doing multiple things, or if let 18 wheelers in, or if it's maybe it's just that beginning time. Maybe it's that 10:30, 11 o'clock time where there's still people getting picked up, and there are still people, there's a bunch of people getting dropped off for the early times. It's a massive backup there. So, but once you got in there, getting out, giving your bags to the porter, they're right there. You walk across the street and you walk into the building. My mom, she's in her 80s. She's, it's not a big deal really. I mean, she can move around, but when it gets to long distances, and I know how much walking is in the Long Beach cruise port, she needed a wheelchair. It was so we would go to get one. They're like, oh, it's gonna be like an hour, hour and a half wait. And it's like it's already 11 o'clock. We're like,
Yeah.
she's like, I don't want to wait that long. So we go, and she struggled, man. I mean, so you walk in, you get you check in, they take your paperwork, you go through security, and you dog sniff your stuff. We were already ready to board. They were announcing our boarding thing right as we walked up. My sister had priority, but we were already early boarding anyway. And then you walk to the back, and then you go up ramps. If you've been to a football game before, those long ramps, you go up. There's
Hmm.
like four of those, and it's all uphill, and she was already gassed by the time we got to the second one. And I mean, look, it's not, I'm talking about gas, but it's taxing. And then you go up and then you go around and then you can check in again and then you go down the ramp, you go down this other ramp, long hallway, and then you go up three ramps to go to the ship, and then you get on the ship, and now you got to walk around and go find muster. Go, it's a lot of walking. I mean, it's a lot of walking. It's some uphill stuff, and it's if for anybody with mobility issues, it's gonna be it's not easy. It's and if you get winded easy, if you have a knee problem, you're going to do a lot of walking. So to be prepared to do a lot of walking.
All right, so you got through security. You know, obviously you had some issues getting on board. That's not, you definitely hit that one. How did you feel like, compared to what you saw last time? Was it pretty much like you remembered everything, where everything was? Like, what was your feeling when you stepped on board, I guess?
The ship, again, beautiful. I love it. I love the decor. I knew my parents would like the decor, and it was great. I mean, the only difference is now it's a summer cruise, and you put summer versus February. You can have the same amount of rooms sold. You're going to have a lot more people on board. People are bringing kids, so now instead of two in a room, there's three and four in a room. Families are going. There were a lot of really big groups going. So I mean, there was probably at least five, six, 700 more people on board the ship than there were in February,
So,
and you felt the difference.
Jeremy, I have a question. So we were looking at doing a cruise in February next year, going to Ensenada and Cabo, doing like an overnight in Cabo. What would you
Mhm.
say, like time of year, like what if you're going on that itinerary, what would you say is the best time of year to hit Cabo and Ensenada, weather wise?
I would say probably April, May.
Okay.
Again, you get before summer starts, but um, when we went in February, when it was a sea day, you couldn't go outside, especially at night. It was windy, but it was cold. There was a day on this cruise where it was too cold to go outside. It was just crazy because
Like
there was a
this
front
one
moving
that you
through.
just got off?
Yes, it was. I
Wow.
mean, with the wind while we were moving, it probably it felt like 45, 50 degrees outside. It was cold.
That's crazy.
Yes. Um, it's I mean it's the West Coast. It's a different. It's not like it's the South. It's just they get some cool days. We got lucky in Cabo. It was like 97 the day before. We got there, it was like 89. And it was still hot. It was still humid, but it was much nicer. I mean, but Cabo and Ensenada are both beautiful the days that we went there in February because it's still far enough south. It is the Baja. You're not going to go swimming really much in those places because the water's going to be cooler. Once you get down to Puerto Vallarta and Mazatlan, it's a little warmer down there. But the Pacific Ocean's, it's fairly cool out there.
Let's talk about Cabo. Let's talk about your ports this time. Did you do similar activities? Did you do something different? Kind of talk to us about your ports stops in Ensenada and Cabo.
Yeah, so in Cabo, we didn't really have anything planned. Last time we went whale watching, I wouldn't want to call it a dud. We did see some whales, but there's only one pod. They popped up here, they popped up there. It was a lot of sitting there doing nothing. My parents didn't want to go. It was a small boat. My mom gets seasick easy. Tender is short. Tender is easy. Tender is a literally like a 5 to 7 minute ride from the ship over to the port there. But again, super long walk. She tried to tough it out. Um, it was hot, and you get off, you go down the pier, you walk all the way around. I would say you're probably looking from when you get off to the end of the where all the shops are. You're probably looking about the distance of getting off in Cozumel and heading all the way down and all through the shops to where the taxis are. It's probably about that long, and it's a long walk. And the heat got to her, and she was resting. We saw my guys at the Tequila Lighthouse. The guys that work there are super friendly. They're super helpful. Um, they do a great job, and they have a ton of things. They get if you buy in bulk, bulk. You buy multiple bottles, they'll offer you a discount. If you're there on Princess, you could actually they actually accept the medallion from Princess. So that's another little cool thing they do. But yeah, I like that place. I'm going every time. I had to buy some liquor for my neighbors for taking care of my house while I was gone. Um, it was great. It's a really cool little area. There's some shops and a lot of restaurants. On a nice day, it's a little marina with its regular boats, and there's Cabo at that port there. There's the Stars Stay over there. There's places in the hills that are really cool, but there's also condos right there. So it's a nice marina. You can sit there and eat and overlook the marina. We didn't get to do that. It was hot. My mom was tired. We actually had to take a cab back to the where they drop you off at, then get her back on the ship. So we were only there about an hour and a half before we got back on.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a great time, especially like you said, trying all those tequilas. Now,
Man,
you mentioned Princess being able to use the medallion there. Was that like just to buy bottles, or was that like
Yeah,
okay?
yes. Yeah, so it's not a bar really. They just it's
Okay,
almost it's a
gotcha.
liquor store with free things. But yeah, at that place there, you can use your medallion. I'm not sure how they got that worked out, but they got that worked out. It's great.
I mean, I guess it's just like anything on the ship, right? They just have it programmed where they talk to each other, and I mean,
Yeah.
it'd be really cool if one day that all worked on all of the shops in every port. Like they just had that technology where you tap your card, you tap your medallion, and you're able to pay with that instead of having to pull out cash.
All right, Jeremy, tell us about your day in Ensenada, because you've sent over some videos here, and we're gonna throw them up. But it looked like quite the time.
So last time we went, we were going to La Bufadora, which is it's the blowhole. And when we got off, Brian, who does the cruise tours for us that we did last time, we said, "Hey, can you take us to Pai Pai?" It's an animal preserve place, and we went there, and it was really great. I got to pet a jaguar, and I got to see some cool animals, and I got to feed a hippo, and I got to feed a giraffe, and it was great. And then we went to Bufadora. This time we decided to do just that. My parents had been to the Bufadora a couple months before that, and they were on a cruise. So we're gonna do an entire day. They have a package. I think it's around $120. They pick you up outside the cruise port, and they bring you over there, and you spend all day there. So we got to, again, I got to pet the jaguar, which is, I mean, it's super exciting, but for me, I mean, I'm a little nervous. It's just, if the thing wants, if it wants to end me right there, it's gonna end me. I got to feed raccoons,
Look at that
and
thing.
that is
We're showing
awesome.
it on the screen right now. The jaguar. It's
Oh
huge.
yeah, that thing is, man. Now, funny enough, the only thing that actually hurt the whole day was when that the pig bit my finger. But the it's so massive, and it's
Oh,
so,
there it is.
yeah. He's
Beautiful.
just, he gets up and he jumps up and he walks over the thing in front of me. I'm thinking to myself, man, if he jumps down, what am I gonna do? But he was, he went lay down. You got to pet him. You just got to have a good time. I mean, you're there for about a minute, minute and a half, 2 minutes. It's not really. He didn't try and steal my wallet and my sunglasses this time like he did last time. Um, but yeah, petting a jaguar. I mean, who gets to do that? Whoever gets to do that? It was great. I got to feed this giant white tiger. And the thing is giant, and he is. I mean, you don't get to do it up close. Obviously, there's a cage and a cage with about 8 inches apart, and they give you tongs that are about a foot long, and you feed him through there little pieces of chicken. And he comes over and he's eating it. And I have a video of him who's impatient, waiting for us to give him more, and he's chuffing and he's making sounds. And you're like, man, this is so close, that's so cool. But thank God there are two cages here because you can just feel the power and how awesome this thing is. Man, Pepe is a great place, man. I love it. There are different places to eat there. You can get burgers, food, so you can spend all day there. Fed giraffes, got to play with lemurs. There are certain things you got to do, but when for the $120, you get to go to the petting zoo. You get to have the big cat excursion. You can do the tigers. You can do the giraffes. You want to feed the giraffes, you got to pay a little extra money, but it's just not much. You get to do have the encounter with the raccoons. There's a raptor show. They have the big hawks and stuff. And there's other things to do that you can add on when you get there. It looks really cool. It's a great. I mean, I would actually go back again. Honestly, I would. You can play with a baby tiger or leopard, and it's like $50 for like 30 minutes.
These are just, it's so different than being able to pet the animals in your backyard in Houston, right?
Exactly right. Exactly right. I've had two extreme reactions. There are people who are like, "Oh my God, that's so awesome, I want to do it," and people like, "You are absolutely out of your mind. Why would you ever do that?"
You got to think so many people are coming through there and doing it every day, like, and there's no issues. It's like riding the
Well,
slide on
Last
Icon, right? Like, same thing.
Exactly. Last time he rolled over and was sitting there waiting for someone to scratch his belly. I mean, honestly, they say he's cuddly. They take care of him. They feed him very well. He's a chunky boy. He's getting fed.
They make sure he's
Um,
always fed before you come through, right? He's full.
exactly. Thank God. If you see in that video when he was walking above us, you saw he had his mouth open. I was like worried he's agitated. He was just thirsty because then he went and got some water and drank, and he was just fine. So, man, it's like I mean, when I told my kids when they were younger, we were doing things when we did the cave tubing and bleed and stuff like that. I tried to tell my kids they were younger, remember this. This is stuff that not everybody gets to do. The first time I went snorkeling in Roatan on Little French Key, you come out the end of it and you see that big, huge, and the drop off is blue. I'm like, man, how many people get to ever do this in their life? So when you go places like that, you got to take advantage of it. I mean, I understand staying on the ship, and I've heard a lot of people talk bad about Ensenada being a horrible port. There are some fun things to do. The only downside on that. man, it is a 45-minute drive out to there and a little farther to Bufadora. And then coming back in the afternoon, there was traffic. So if you're in Ensenada and say you rent a vehicle, whatever, leave early because there was a lot of traffic in the afternoon. Even on the weekend, it was Saturday, and it took us about an hour, 15, hour 30 to get back there, almost twice as long to get back than it did to get there in the morning. So leave some time getting back to the ship in Ensenada.
Well, it sounds like you had an awesome day in Ensenada. You had a great time in Cabo too. Let's talk about your sea days. How was your sea day on board the Carnival Firenze?
So you can guess what I did a lot of times in the sea days. I'm
Yep.
sure everybody
How
knows.
much money did
Yeah,
we
we,
do? Good in the casino? Did we do not so good?
no, no. My last three cruises, I've had some big wins and some really big wins, and um, man, this was brutal for me. It wasn't great for most of my family, but this was brutal for me. I couldn't get anything at all. But we enjoy playing. We have a good time. This was really a relaxing cruise for us. We weren't going to do a lot. Hanging out with my parents. Hanging out with my sister. We found some great spots outside. There were some days, even like on the sea days, there was one day it was too cold, and one day it was cool. Like my sister needed sweaters on. Putting your arms on the tables was a little cool on your arms, but it was still enjoyable. It was still really nice, and just relaxing and enjoying the ship. But it was harder to relax on this one than it was in the last one because there's so many. It's summertime, and you have to expect you're sailing in summer. You're going to have a ton of kids, and there are kids running around and teenagers running around. They're loud, they're screaming. There's big groups of people. When you get 10, 12 people together, people are talking over each other. It gets loud. They're not trying to be loud. They're not trying to ruin anybody's thing. Kids aren't trying to ruin anybody's thing. Families aren't trying to ruin people's cruises. But it's just the nature of having a big groups and having a bunch of kids. And there's a reason why a lot of people who are older, who don't have kids, don't sail in the summertime. And I think this is probably gonna be my last summertime cruise
Yeah.
until my grandkids get in the school and they can only sail in the summer. I'll try and take them. Some kids have weeks off. I'll take them then. I'll try and avoid summer as much as possible.
That's funny because I feel like I don't cruise a lot in the summer. I've got Star coming up, but like typically I just avoid it. And I think it's just out of being in North Carolina and it's already hot and it's more expensive. And honestly, I prefer to go in the fall. I know it's hurricane season, but like
Mhm.
November is always when we go around my birthday. And then we went in January. I loved
Yeah.
January. What about you, Michael? What is your favorite time?
I was about to say, for me, most have either been like January. I think that's kind of growing up. The first couple cruises we did as a family were January. Like you said, the guys' cruise. The only summer cruise I've done was Alaska this summer, and then obviously some fall sprinkled in as well. So yeah, summertime probably isn't my favorite time either.
Alaska is a great. You have to do it in the summertime. There's no other way time to do it.
Yeah.
And they call the November, October, November, and January, February. They call it shoulder season. And they're great prices. The price is really good. Um, I most of my cruises, if you look, they start mid-November and I end in April. I mean, almost every time. Look at this year. Next year, I have two in November, one in December, one in January, one in February, one in April, and then I don't sail again until the following November. It's kind of for me that's cruise season because prices, because of heat, because of crowds. It's just best time to do it.
Let's talk about the food now on Carnival Friends. That's what I want to hear about, Jeremy, because we like to eat. That's part of the reason why we
Yep.
like to cruise. Talk to us
Yep.
about what you thought in terms of the quality of the food. Did it feel like it was on par from the last time you sailed this ship on itinerary? Was it on par for what you expect with Carnival? Was it better than you expected? Talk us through that.
It was I would say exactly on par with our one in February. I'll compare the dining room to this one in my celebration cruise. Not close. Celebration dining room I thought was fantastic. Celebration was probably one of the best dining room experiences I had on a Carnival ship since probably when I first started sailing when things were a little different. Um, the dining room was okay. We had anytime dining, which wasn't really what we normally like to do, but we booked it super late. Sometimes we got sat right next to the kitchen in this kind of hallway, and people are passing us by, and there's seated people next to us. It really wasn't great. The food was decent, hit or miss, but Carnival, they do great with their free food options. You know, they always have Guy's Burger. Everybody goes Carnival. Everybody loves Guy's Burger. They have the sandwich shop, and they have meatballs and they have hot dogs on the sandwich shop. The sandwich shop is pretty decent. They sell empanadas on there. They're extra, but they sell them. They're nice. Um, there's just a lot of different options for food. The buffet was decent. you know, the buffet had a little problem with you come in from the Lido deck, and on a really warm day, it was so slippery you had to almost drag your feet because it was you could slip and fall. But it was fine. The buffet food, you can't. If anybody goes to the buffet and they're thinking, "I'm going to have the best meal of my life," well, you're not going to do that because they're making food for 5,000 people all at one time. You're not going to have the best meal of your life. It's quick food. Find a few things you like, and get full and move on. But there's so many options, and that's what I love about them. And then
You were
of
missing
course we did
you were missing the indulged food hall a little bit, weren't you?
every day of my life. I miss the indulge food all. It's fast, it's good, it's easy. Then of course we did one night at so my granddaughter was born while we were on the ship. My daughter was trying to hold off, but she was born.
Congrats.
On the Thank you, appreciate it. She was born a couple days before we got back. We have a couple years so she cruises, but she's gonna be a cruiser. I can tell you that now. So it's to
Grandpa Cruising
celebrate
Bear.
Grandpa Cruising Bear. Well, that's my name. They're gonna be Papa Bear, so that's gonna be my grandfather name. Um, we went to Bonsai Sushi again because, like I mentioned last time, if you look, it's a la carte pricing. The pricing is super super good. I mean, you can't have food that good going out. I think at home. You can eat. We went 3 people. We all ate really good. We had good food. I think it cost us like $75 after tip. It's a great experience. We went. We had edamame. My dad had some shrimp. I had filet mignon, teriyaki filet mignon. They have skewers, and the pricing is really really good. The food is especially dining quality, but maybe faster. And it's an easy in and out. You're not there for hour and a half. I love Bonsai Sushi. I would never have gone because I don't eat sushi and I don't eat seafood. And I don't eat a lot of Asian food, but I will probably do that for any kind of one-off. If you go to on the big XL class ships, right, you get free shebang and you get a first night Italian free. But on a ship like this, when you don't get that, Bonsai Sushi is a hit.
Are you like a teppanyaki type of person where you go on a cruise? Because getting ready to go on Star with Mom, and I was like, you know what? One night we should do teppanyaki. Like it's one of to me, you can't get fresher than that on a cruise. They literally cook it in front of you. Like they throw the raw
Yeah.
meat down, and it's so good. And you leave there so full that you like have to do 8 laps around the ship because you're like, dude, I ate so much
Yes.
food, and it's always good. But I wasn't sure if you enjoyed that as well.
We've done those teppanyaki is my mom's favorite specialty dining. She loves teppanyaki. We did it. She actually took us out to eat. Me and my kids on the celebration, my parents, my kids and their significant others, and it took us all out to eat a teppanyaki there, and it was very very good. They have done teppanyaki. On NCL, you get two. It used to be two now, 3 nights of specialty dining if you book a balcony room, and they always book a day at the teppanyaki as well.
Well, I mean, overall, it sounds like you had a great experience with the food on the ship. Like you said, maybe some of it didn't compare as well as the celebration, but I mean, obviously having Guy's Burgers and Tomodoro and all that sound like some cool options. Like you said, kind of similar to what some of the other Carnival ships have, but still kind of its own flair on this ship. Another thing that is different on this ship, Jeremy, that I want to hear your opinion on a little bit, the pool deck area, right? I mean, the look, just starting right there, the look doesn't really look like your typical Carnival pool deck. What's the vibe like during the day, during the evening? Yeah, kind of just talk about that a little.
Again, this is very different because when they're in February, cooler days, it's a closable roof, so it's covered. So we went there in February; it was covered the entire time. This time it was uncovered. It was very warm. That's what created the slipperiness in the Lido deck area. So there's an aft pool. That's very nice. It's smaller. It's where the bar is definitely a bigger party atmosphere at the aft pool. The mid pool, their Lido deck pool is very. I mean, it's nice. The area is wonderful. Honestly, the area is very beautiful. It's not like anything on any Carnival or any ship I've been on. They have the way the balconies overlook it. And that's not ship balconies, but just seating areas and the trellis bar is very nice, what you just showed. Honestly, for a pool deck, it's a little on the chill side. It's very chill. It's not as rowdy. The back pool is a little more rowdy for what you see in a typical Lido deck. They do have their parties there. They do activities there. They can get loud. They can get loud music playing. They have music playing, but it's not. I didn't find it as big of a party atmosphere as I've seen on other ones. The aft pool was the bigger party atmosphere.
Nice. I mean, it looks beautiful. The whole ship looks beautiful,
Yeah,
honestly, to me.
super
It
well
is.
done for sure. Nice job to Carnival on that one.
I'll tell you what. There was one little incident on board that I want to make people aware of who don't cruise a lot, or if you don't do it, or if you see some things when they give you these little, hey, make sure you have your medicines with you, and you kind of a young man. Well, the first day I had to go. My credit card somehow did not end up on my account, so I had to go down to guest services. And I'm sitting there waiting, and it's obviously the line's like 60 people long. It's the first day. I was trying to, charge my card in the casino, and it wouldn't go through. Luckily, I could go to the priority line. So while I'm waiting there, there's this young man there who's very upset. He's yelling and he's cussing that he doesn't have his bag yet. He's got hives. He's itching everywhere, and I feel bad for the guy. But he's yelling at them like it's their fault. He didn't have his bag. He didn't have his medicine. He needs his medicine. It's 5 o'clock, and he didn't have his bags yet. And I understand it. I get that. It's frustrating. Sometimes your bags get late. But they tell you multiple times beforehand. They tell you when you drop your bags off there, they tell you, get all your essential medicines out. If you have medicines you need, put them on your carry on and carry them with you. People ignore it like it's a joke. But what happened for this young man was he didn't have, we all have them in cruise a lot. We have the plastic holders for your bag tags. It's got a wire hook on it. You get your tag ripped off one time, and you will not sail with those without those
Dude,
again.
I know.
Yes, that's how I got it. That's how my parents got
They're
it. That's how my
cheap
son
too. They're
did it.
like $7. Like it's so
So
worth
like
it.
20 of them. It's crazy. Yes, you can get a. I have a bunch right there. We carry them with us now on the cruise, just in case, because sometimes they write on them when you change your room. They will write on them, and you have to put a new one in. But he didn't have that, so his bag got ripped off. He turns, he sees his bag sitting on. Luckily, his bag was right next to guest services, and he goes, but he's yelling and cussing at everybody. Obviously, the guest service people paid him no mind. He wasn't in line. He was just off to the side yelling. And again, I felt for him. You're sick. You have whatever's going on with you, and you want your medicine, and you are agitated. But I'll say it's on you because you didn't follow the rules. Now the bag thing, that's not on him. That's just bad luck. But you got. I mean, if you're out there and you're cruising, you have medicine. If you most likely won't need it, but something happens and you might need it, take it with you.
Well, Jeremy, it sounds like you're not going to shy away from booking this cruise again in the future, Carnival Firenze, but you might not do it in the summer.
Not in the summer, but I did say that 27 or 28, as long as I still have cruise deals there on there, I'm going to do it back to back on there.
We have some vlogs coming. Michael, what percentage would you say you're done with your MSC? We just did an episode on Solo, and you told the people it was going to be out already.
I know. I said it was going to be out on Friday, and then I had a little more work on this live to get done for today. So I think it's close. I
would you say 75%?
Yes, I think so. I pretty much have all of the footage I have in the file. So it's really just going back and add in either music or transitions or all that stuff.
And then the boys cruise, I'm going to try to drop that this weekend because I just feel like there's no point in holding it in. So I want you guys to enjoy that. So make sure that you are subscribed and that you are able to just, see that when it comes out and let us know what you think. That was a fun cruise. Want to make that kind of an annual tradition as well. And then we'll probably go live again, I would imagine, when I'm on Star of the Seas. So that's going to be awesome. I know that I don't know if you pulled anything in from Star of the Seas.
It's got a nice little photo of Star there.
Yeah. Did you see that they put out that there's one guy that runs the hotel operations who kind of is in control of how that
yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, he has a thing that he can write stuff and they can write messages like "Hello Miami" or whatever they want on there. It's pretty cool. I think that's a really cool feature. So I'll be on this ship in 11 days. That's my next one, and then after that, I'll be with the Cruising Bear. We're trying to get you on board that one, but not this time. Not this time. So we'll be on that cruise, and then I'm trying to think what else is next. Trying to get to the Cocoa Beach Club sometime. Trying to get to Celebration Key. There's just so many things happening in the cruise world. It's hard to get on all these cruises. Well, hey, this was a great time having the Cruising Bear on the live stream. We really enjoyed it, and for those that were listening to this episode in real time with us and commenting, we really appreciate you engaging. And for those that weren't able to join, we hope that you can make it next time. Also, if you're interested in booking a cruise with us, make sure you reach out. We can help you. There's no cost to work with us, and we can always make sure we get you that best price, as well as add on some promos, whether that's free specialty dining or just onboard credit as a gift. We've done up to $500, but usually it's around $50 to $100 extra for just working with us. So you can do that. There's a jot form in the description that gets us all the information we need to be able to quote you and your family, friends, the best price out there, or you can send us an email at cruiseconversations@gmail.com. With that, thank you so much for listening and tuning in live, and we'll see you back here next Wednesday.